Alright, today's vlog is going to be a little bit different when you're riding around in that thing. Alright. Ow. So for today's vlog, I was going to kind of talk about how to buy a used motorcycle. Cable park stuff. That's pretty cool. Oh man. This is a little 50 track. Oh yeah. Oh, I think I'm gonna throw out my Whataburger. There you go, turn her off.
Fuck.
You alright?
Yeah.
How's your shoulder?
Fine.
Okay. I'll let you get out because if I let go, I'm going to fall on you.
How do I get out?
Here. Let me get you. Okay. Alright. Okay.
Okay.
Holy shit, this thing's heavy. Well, we can get your truck and that was unexpected, but not 100% surprising. I know these things flip over commonly. Well, it's really awesome though. All of them are going to be kind of hard to... Oh yeah. Well, that was fun. Alright, totally just rolled this thing. That was interesting. These harnesses are awesome. So anyway, let me get this out before we start going nuts again. How to buy a used motorcycle. First thing you should look for if you're going to buy a used bike, check the chain. If the chain sounds and feels all loose, definitely needs to be replaced. If it's a rusty chain, don't try to get the rust off, just replace it. It's an easy thing to replace for the damage that it could do. Break your cases, sling up, hurt you, hurt your bike. So if the chain sounds like it's going like when you move it, definitely bad. If you can get the bike off the ground on stands, definitely spin the wheels. You can tell the brakes are dragging, rock them back and forth, see if the wheel bearings are good. If it doesn't want to spin at all, well, the brakes could be dragging really bad. Or your wheel bearings are completely shot. Fork seals, that's another big one. You can easily tell if they're leaking. You just plunge the front forks. So that's definitely a point that whenever I always went to go buy motorcycles, it was it was always people never mentioned that the fork seals were leaking, but it's super easy to tell. Just go ahead and plunge the forks and see if you can see a line of dirt or oil where it goes down to. Try to get the owner to not start the bike before you get there. If an engine has compression problems, it'll be a lot easier to tell if the motor is not warm and everything's all expanded and sealing. Get there. Once you arrive, go ahead and check the coolant first, since it's not, you know, hot. Make sure it's not milky. There's anything weird in it. It's not low. Because that could mean that if it's milky, then oil is mixing somehow with the coolant, whether it be a head gasket or cases leaking. You know how the transmission and the engine oftentimes share oil. Tires, motors, those are pretty easy to see if they're low. They need to be replaced, especially if they're low in the center. That's usually the most common thing. People ride them on the street. They get worn a lot in the center. Now that you've checked the coolant, all the stuff with the drivetrain and everything, with it sitting, go ahead and get it started. Hopefully you're looking at a bike that runs. So go ahead and get it started. And check and see how quickly it starts. Now, carbureted motors, they may take a while, especially if it's cold outside. So don't be too worried about that. If it's a fuel-injected bike, I think some of the early ones, like if it's a dirt bike, they sometimes are a little picky too. So if you're having trouble starting it, it could be a number of things. It could be not fueled correctly, or it could have rings that need to be replaced. Once it does start, check to see if it smokes. Blue smoke is going to be burning oil. White smoke, that's generally burning coolant. Now, if it's a cold day out, it will look white, just the steam coming out of it. Woohoo! And if it's black smoke, that means that it's rich. And or the valves got some good carbon on them. So we've got, let's see, transmission. If you're able to ride the bike, make sure that it shifts into gear without any binding. If it's a dirt bike, look and see if the linkage has been bent back, the splines. Just make sure it visually looks good. A lot of times on dirt bikes, the seal right there on the shifter will leak. That's not, that doesn't kill the deal, but it's not the easiest to replace, but it can be done. If it's leaking out of the weep hole in the water pump, that's usually a pretty easy fix, at least on dirt bikes. There's just a seal right behind the case there, and it's allowing the water, it's just telling you that, hey, you need to replace this seal before I really go bad. Really, my biggest thing when I go to look at a bike on Craigslist or something like that is there's a lot of things that owners don't even know that's wrong with their bike. So it's not like they're leaving it out on purpose, they just simply don't know. Especially like the fork seals. So many people have been like, oh wow, the fork seals were leaking, I never noticed that. And I mean, yeah, they could be lying, but they do seem genuine a lot of times. If it's a street bike, definitely check to see if all the lights work. Sometimes it's just something as simple as a bulb. If it's not signaling or the lights aren't turning on, but it could mean something worse, like wiring. A lot of times older street bikes have really crappy wiring. People try to do undertail conversions or HID conversions, and you got to be careful there, because wiring, I'm more of a mechanical person than a wiring person, so I generally don't like when a bike has electrical problems. A lot of times, even when the brake light does work with the front handle lever, it won't work with the foot brake. A lot of times people don't even use the foot brake, but if it doesn't work, that's one of the things that you can negotiate into the deal. If you're not scared of a little mechanical work, if it does have milky coolant, or if you do start it and it bubbles, if it's not milky but it does bubble, then it still could need a head gasket. That means air from the cylinder is getting past the head gasket and coming into the coolant galleries. My street helmet is going to be so dirty. This thing is really amazing. more shy of corners now. That's a good thing. Everything there still looks good. Okay, back at it. Oil. If it has a dipstick or a sight glass, check it. Sometimes bikes don't have either. But now, if it is a motor that shares transmission and engine oil, sometimes the oil can look really gray. And that's just the wet clutch. Basically the fibers, they get into the oil because they're just rubbing friction against each other. Clutch, see if it engages. If it's got a hydraulic clutch, make sure it doesn't feel spongy, like it has air in the system. If it's a cable clutch, make sure it doesn't drag or have any frays or anything like that, because if that breaks, you know, you're kind of SOL. And it's not that was sweet. It's not a really fun thing to replace. I can't really think of a whole lot of other things that, you know, you can check while you're standing in someone's driveway to take a look at a used bike. If you have any suggestions, definitely comment. I'm always, I tend to buy a lot of used bikes and, you know, motorsport stuff. So, if you can think of something else that maybe I forgot, or never even thought of, comment, and let me know. Just really trying to help you guys out. Not everybody goes and buys a brand new bike off the showroom. Buying used bikes, that's what pretty much I think all of my motorcycles have been, and most of them have been a really good experience. You just got to make sure to watch out what you're buying and be smart about it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a good one. Holy moly. Holy crap, I love this thing. That was so much fun. That's way better than going to a water park or a roller coaster park. It was awesome.